Cain Academy is our attempt to rethink medical education using a flipped classroom approach. So what exactly is a flipped classroom? Well, let's take a look at this schematic of Bloom's taxonomy, which describes the levels of learning that students go to in their mastery of a topic. And it starts here at the lowest level. You lay down a foundation of remembering, and students gradually progress through each of these more complicated levels till they reach the higher levels of analysis, evaluation, and creation. In traditional classrooms, this was divided up basically into two phases, where the bottom two levels were done in class, so I'll just label this school, and this was the function of lecture, where the teacher would directly give this information to the students themselves, and then the students would go home and do homework, and this is where they would do those higher levels. And there was some crossover depending on the type of lesson used and the exact lesson plan of the teacher, but for the most part, the bottom two levels, the actual learning of the information was done in school with the presence of the instructor, and these higher levels were expected to be done at home. So in the flipped classroom approach, we switched the location of these two. So what used to be done at school, the direct instruction of students, is now done at home, using the power of technology to deliver these instructions on students' own time. And what used to be done at home is now done at school, which allows instructors to use their experience and their knowledge of seeing this material over and over to help these students really grasp these higher level concepts. So the flipped classroom approach is really different from traditional methods, but what are some of the specific advantages and what would it look like when it's implemented? So the advantages of the flipped classroom are many, and I've listed a few of them here that we'll go over, and two of them we've actually talked about already. The first one, that the foundational levels of Bloom's taxonomy, these bottom levels of the pyramid here, are done at home, and the higher levels are done at school, so you can interact with the faculty member or instructor who has experience with this material and can deepen the students' knowledge themselves. But what are some other advantages? So the first is the actual length of the material, and because we're using the internet and these short online videos, we can keep them to under 12 minutes, which allows students to access them whenever they need, even if they have a short amount of time, and it matches the natural attention span of most people. As far as implementation, another big advantage is the knowledge map, which we have demonstrated here on the right-hand side. So in this knowledge map, we have one overarching topic. In this case, the example is membrane channels, and let's say we have three subsequent subtopics that students have to get through, and these might be the sodium-potassium pump, voltage-gated channels, and the specific function of these channels. And then once students watch this level of videos, they progress to the next, and that could be the action potential for these two, which kind of combine, and then once you watch these, that opens up these other levels down here, which could be another video, these two online YouTube videos, but it could be other things like journal articles or specific texts that students have to read, or another video that really explains something well. And on the function side, we could have them leading to the specific location of these channels, and then maybe watching a couple more YouTube videos before getting to the bottom level, which is the quiz. And this brings in the idea of competency, which is another big strength of this flipped classroom model. Basically, that once students have progressed through all of these things, the way that you assess whether or not they've learned is you force them to go through a quiz or answer some sort of evaluation to make sure that they've grasped the things about the material that are important for them to grasp before they can move on to the next topic. Another big advantage is what we call the dashboard, and that's what you could see over on the bottom right hand of the screen with all these multicolored squares. So here, each square represents a student, and the color of the square represents how far they've progressed through the material. So this group of students over here in silver, they haven't really started. They're kind of at the top. But this subset of students right under them in yellow, and this one right over here as well, they've already gotten through all the material and are about to take the quiz. So you can see that there's clusters of students within this group of 60, which leads to the next advantage, that it's customizable for the instructor. So this means that the instructor can take the group of students that's a little behind and maybe target a specific activity for them. Or take the group of students that's a little bit ahead and give them some extra work to deepen their knowledge and to make them appreciate some higher level concepts. Because this is all using the computer, this dashboard would be available to the instructor whenever they want. So what will this flipped classroom look like here at UM? Everything we've talked about so far, everything on this knowledge map, that's the base levels of this pyramid that students do on their own time. And together we're going to call that self-guided study, or SGS. To get to these higher levels of the pyramid, that's what we do in class, and we're going to call that in-class learning, or ICL for short. And the opportunities for this are really endless. You could do things like problem-solving sessions of things of particular difficulty, patient panels, workshops dealing with specific problems that come up, labs of any relevant material or data to be collected, debates to get a fuller picture of any issues, reviews of specific topics, demos of any new technology or procedures to be done, and case studies in which you could talk about a specific journal article or maybe something that came up in clinic recently. SGS and ICL together will make what we call Cain Academy. And a major goal of Cain Academy is going to be the generation of all of this SGS and ICL material here in-house using interested faculty and students. And together we'll be able to make a group of students that are better prepared for their time on the wards and eager to meet the challenges of daily clinical practice.